The biggest weapon that the dark, the elite, whatever the heck we want to call them, the biggest weapon they have is they are able, or the intention they have is to manipulate the emotions of the collective, because what they believe is that if they can get people into certain states of emotion, it's going to shift them or put them into a certain state of powerlessness. When people are in powerlessness, they're giving away their power, and it has an effect on the collective energy. And this is something that I haven't shared as much when I talk about the Great Awakening, when I talk about what's going on in the world. But in this video, I'm going to show you the probabilities for the end of 2020, the different things they may intend to do, and also what you can do to retain your power and to really stand in your own energy so that these things don't affect you, they don't affect your family, they don't affect the timeline you're on nearly as much. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness and raise their vibration by making by making spirituality both practical and relatable. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel. I make videos like this about 3-4 times a week. Used to be every day, but I've changed it around a little bit now. Now in 2020, it's already been pretty freaking crazy. As you can see, it's been crazy. And one of the reasons it's been crazy is because there's certain energy dynamics at play to keep people within a certain state of consciousness. Now, what is happening? Let's look at it from a metaphorical point of view. I know this is going to sound esoteric, but there's so much light and transformation happening on the planet right now. There's so many people waking up to more of who they are, that what has happened is there's an old, outdated system that has been around for a long time. It's almost like if a computer, it's got really old software on it. And imagine that software just wants to remain there. Imagine you borrow your friend's computer, or somebody that had really weird energies computer, right? And they were being really weird towards you. And they were giving it to you, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna update the software so I can use it. And like, don't update the software. Don't do it. You're not updating the software. And then you're like, why don't I update the software? Just don't do it. And what they would then maybe do is have you believe that you need to leave it the way that it is, because maybe they have some hacking software on it where they can see inside of what you're doing. They can do some creepy stuff that you're not really aware of. But in similar way, what is happening, there's so much light being brought onto the planet, so many people are waking up, but this older software system, these older, you call them they're people that have just had power for a long time, that do very dark things. By dark, I mean like just kind of horrible things when it comes to the way they are. And what they do is they want to keep people in, look at the scale of consciousness here. You got fear, anger, neutrality, willpower, reasoning, love. They want to keep people in fear and anger. When people are in fear and anger, they're much easier to control. And then that, in a way, from their mind, stops the process of transformation happening on the planet. They know it's inevitable. There are people that I believe know it's inevitable that people are eventually going to wake up, but they want to prolong the process, because the longer they can keep people in the dark, the more they can retain their power, and the more they can keep the smoke show going. Now, here's one of the things that you may have not heard me say before. One of the things their intentions is to create the emotion, negative emotion. If they keep people in negative emotion, they're much less powerful. But also think about it like this. There's a collective energy that we all have connected together. I believe that there are people on the planet that know this. And what they do is, if they can manipulate the collective energy, the beliefs of millions of people on the planet, then they can keep them where they want them. So what they do is they have them feeling certain emotions. Now think about it like this. There's an infinite number of timelines that exist. And the goal for them is to keep people on the most fearful timelines, because that's where their power is. So the idea is that if we infuse fear and anger and we control it, then people are going to remain on those timelines if we can control the narrative. And that's why the media will spew out and exaggerate just about everything that's happening. Well, the media is owned by one of the 6 major corporations that has almost the same intention. Whether on this side or this side, it's like if you're battling, that reset that kind of state. So the thing that I want to share with you in this video specifically is that there's infinite number of timelines that exist. At the end of 2020, there's some astrology that says, just like it did, I'm not huge, like the biggest astrology person ever. I don't understand it all. I do know, though, that there are people that really do study this a lot, and they've been saying, there's one person I saw that made a video in like 2015 that said the beginning of 2020 is going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. And it definitely has been, pointing to a lot of the things that are happening. And even with more detail than I'm explaining to you right now, but like the different energy dynamics that are happening. And many people that study astrology that have said, oh, the beginning of 2020, also point to the end of 2020, saying just about the same thing. Something crazy. Could be different than what happened at the beginning of the year. And the thing, though, that I want to put your attention on is that this does not have to be a fearful thing. The fear is a choice. If we can neutralize it by observing it, we then have our power back. My guess is that there could be something before the end of the year that surprises us. Also, it's an election year. That happens a lot before election years. So the thing that I want you to be aware of is there's 2 or 3 big things that have happened this year, and each time I put my attention on it, I got very triggered and I immediately reacted. But then I caught myself, and then as the story started to unfold, you could see different things happening. When it came to the riots, you could then see that bricks were planted in different places. There were people that were at these riots that were seeing other people that were not black, that were writing BLM, that then were being confronted, and you could tell they were undercover or something was going on. Not to say that all of them were like that. You could tell that there were people that were provoking other people at these type of riots. And it was very interesting. That began to unfold. A lot of the stuff that happened at the beginning of the year, you probably see my other videos on that. But in general, if you can manipulate the emotions, you then put the people that are in those emotions on a timeline that is equal to that. And I recently had a reading with Bashar, who I've been watching since 2012. And one of the things he said is that when it comes to this whole Great Awakening, there's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist. And what happens is we are going to individually shift to the collective that matches our vibration. So some of you I know may be going down the rabbit holes of a lot of the crazy stuff happening in the world. The crazy stuff of even like the Great Awakening, some of the stuff I'm talking about right now. The thing that I encourage you to do is to not give away the power, to not be in fear, to understand that yes, there's more going on. That helps to wake people up. But then to be in the state of what you prefer, to raise your own vibration. That's the best thing you can do. Is to observe, not get caught in the fear and anger. Understand this is also, it's a collective energy process where it's purging out older ways of being, older control factions. It's purging out some of even the collective unconsciousness of some of the inequality and stuff like that. It has a purpose at the same time. So the key is to be aware of it and then to let it go, but to be in that neutral state. But realize that when there's some type of manipulative emotional manipulation, be aware of that. And before the end of the year, there could be something that happens. I mean, I know it's like, oh, it's predicted. You said it could be, it could not be. The reason I say that is because I don't want to put the fear in it. This isn't fearful. Anytime something like this happens, it does bring out an immense amount of awakening. It's sad that it has to happen in this way, but understand that at a greater level, we're all connected. We all came here to be a part of this transformation happening on the world. So the key for us is to be aware of that and to move through and to do the inner work, because all the outer is a reflection of the inner as well. But remember, you don't have to be afraid that someone's going to suck you into a negative timeline, because you are on the timeline you're on based on your own vibration. So like I tell people when it comes to some of these like the conspiracy theory rabbit holes, don't put all your energy into it, because it will. If it lowers your vibration and it sucks you into it, and you find it hard to sleep, then it's hurting your vibration. Even if it's like, well, I'm aware of this stuff, it's still pulling you into those parallel realities, being fearful of it or being angry about it. The thing that I encourage you to do is to be aware of it, but then to put your energy back on what you want. Some people, it's their passion to study that stuff. Then that's cool. For me, though, I realize that when I do it for a period of time, it actually lowers my vibe, and it's harder for me to get other things done. Now, this is the key, though, is neutralizing what is happening, neutralizing your thoughts, realizing that if something does happen before the end of the year, get to a neutral place before reacting. and then respond. Choose your response. And as you do that, you're going to be taking your power back. So astrology may point to something happen at the end of the year, but it doesn't have to be bad. It could be something where we all come together. What if it was something very good? What if we all put our energy together and we all shifted to a timeline that we actually preferred to be on? The collective energy can be used for emotional manipulation, but it can also be used for something very positive. And if you didn't know already, we did a meditation for this, a meditation for shifting to the most optimal timeline. Read the comments to see what's possible. Many people had very profound experiences because we connected all of our energy together and brought through high vibrational energy. So if you want to be on the most optimal timeline, one way you could do that is by doing that meditation, all of our energy connected together. Do it for 21 days and watch how your life changes. I'll go ahead and link it here and link it below.